Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's mentorship session. My name is Noeline Mumbi. I am a supply chain professional, strategic supply chain leader, and a growth mentor. Today, I'm showing up as a safe space host, and I am joined once again by Najda Begum. Good evening, Najda.
Hi, Noeline. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Najda. Thank you so much for making the time to join us this evening and for joining
Uh,
us
you're,
once again because this is the second time you're coming in. Thank you very much.
you're welcome anytime. I love to be here.
Thank you. So I'll jump right into it and introduce you to the audience and I'll read your profile. And I'll be speaking about Najda. Her career path has led her to venture and explore many fields and finally settling into her calling in the people and culture and training field, where she has for over 14 years sought to lead with determination in and change the narrative of how SHRM and PNC and training are implied and applied in the corporate sector in the Weka region in Africa, that's West, East, and Central Africa, and has achieved great success in institutions she has had the pleasure to serve in this capacity. She is a certified professional mediator and passionate about alternative dispute resolution in corporate and labor affairs. She is also an ardent ambassador of digitalization enablement in the HR field, spearheading the use of gamification in HR applications. Najda was awarded the first runner-up nationally in the HR Director of the Year category at the prestigious IHRM Awards Gala in December 2023. The category recognized HR directors in leadership who have profoundly shaped the future of HR, having showcased exemplary leadership and initiatives that left indelible marks on their careers and the HR landscape. Was celebrated as an influential Muslim in Kenya in Mombasa on November 2019 based on her work with youth and women. She sits on the board of Akili Africa Foundation and the Farah Halek Foundation and sits on the Business Advisory Council for NTAS Kenya. In a nutshell, Najda is a disruptive catalyst who has and continues to shape the HR landscape in Africa. In addition to this, since the last time Najda joined us as our guest mentor, Najda is now a doctorate candidate. She's pursuing her PhD in social transformation. So, Najda, tell us a little bit about your doctorate.
Thank you so much again, Noeline, for having me here. And wow, yeah, since the last time I've been here, I'm now a PhD candidate in social transformation. I guess it's an exhilarating deep dive, you could say, into understanding how societies evolve and adapt to change. Of course, focusing on the intersection of culture, leadership, social dynamics, and just coming up with innovative ideas that can spark positive change in communities. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to the practical stages of empowering people, redefining norms, and of course, inspiring transformation in a world that's constantly evolving, especially for us here in Africa. And that's why this topic today is so special to me. Like I was telling you earlier, it's still. I think it's a path God has put me on for transformative change, and so I'm very excited to be here to discuss transformational leadership as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Najda. I'm really, really looking forward to listening to you today again because every single time you speak, I get so much insight from you and I love having you on. So I'm going to hand it over to you. I apologize that our StreamYard has a little bit messed up with our formatting for this, but I'm going to hand it over to you as you mentor us on how to become a transformational leader.
Great, thank you. And thanks everyone for being here. I am going to, as usual, ask for an interactive session. I know it's a mentorship session, and I know even when I posted about it, I promised a short, quick masterclass, and that's exactly what I'm going to give. But tafadhali, let those questions and comments and feedback come in through chat. Let's try and have. There will be a segment of this discussion that's going to be scenario based. So I will ask for a lot of people to kind of give feedback, and let's try and make it as engaging as possible. Like Nerlene said, the StreamYard has messed around with the presentation a bit, so pardon us for that. But I'm hopeful the rest looks okay. Today we're discussing how to become a transformational leader. We've already talked about my journey with transformational leadership, or just my transformational journey, and I feel like I'm just very passionate about unlocking this, your leadership potential, unlocking the leadership potential in people in this new era of transformation. So in today's session, we're going to talk what is transformational leadership. It's a very common question. The as you might assume, I mean, the title is very clear, but trust me. So what's transformational leadership? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about why it matters. We'll talk about what are the key core traits that a transformational leader should have, which are the ones that are listed there. We'll also talk about one of the key traits is, of course, emotional intelligence, but I'll delve a bit more detailed in that. And then we'll do some scenario based discussions and conclude with a call to action. So, when you're thinking transformational leadership, who comes to your mind? I tried to find a lot of pictures that would make some sense. But if you look at this picture, you look at transformational leaders. You're going to look at them. I can see everyone from Winston Churchill to Bill Gates. You can see Princess Diana. You can see Oprah Winfrey. You can see Martin Luther King. You can see Nelson Mandela. You can see Mahatma Gandhi. You can see Mother Teresa. There's so many people on this slide. And if you want to understand, I always feel like if you want to understand something, look at a picture of what it looks like. Even if you don't know everyone on this list, if you can count on your fingers at least 3, 4, 5, or 3, whatever people you know, and you'll understand why they all fit into this frame and how that makes them transformational leaders. If you want to look at Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, these are all names we learned growing up in school, we've read about. They all have something common. They all led transformative action. And what made them lead this transformative action that the world is writing books and basing theories and everything until today? It is their vision. They all had a vision. They were all very charismatic in how they spoke. They all believed in their vision and people rallied behind them. And you see those as some of the core traits of transformational leadership and why you need to have them for you to become a transformational leader. So before we go into the why, I just want you to look at this picture. If you understand just 3 of those and understand what the link is between them, you're already getting a hang of what transformational leadership is. So transformational leadership it's not just a fun word. It's not just something everyone's saying lately. It was conceptualized by Burns in 1978. So transformational leadership is an approach focused on inspiring and motivating followers to achieve more than what is usually expected of them. So Burns differentiated between 2 types of leadership: the transactional leadership, which focuses on exchange. So here, you perform, I reward. And then there's transformational, which is about elevating followers and motivation and morale. I really need everyone to understand those 2. Transactional, very common. Every office has had transactional to date. Predominantly, everyone's using transactional. You have for all of those who have jobs, I'm sure you have a job description, and then you're told this year these are your KPIs. You need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your target. Blah blah blah. You meet your target, you get a bonus. That's transactional. So you have performance and reward. Transformational is, now we said, elevating your followers or your team. Motivational, morale. That's what it's based on. So when Burns in 1978 came up with the theory of transformational leadership, he put 4 I's in it. So idealized influence. The leader acts as a role model. So he or she practices what they preach. That's how you earn trust and respect of followers. Followers, you're talking followers, I mean whether it's your congregation at the church, whether it's your teams in the office, whoever you seek to become a leader to, these are now followers. So, inspirational motivation. These leaders are very articulate and very clear and have a very appealing vision. And that is why they inspire and motivate hordes of people, crowds and crowds and crowds. Intellectual stimulation. They encourage innovation. They encourage you to be creative. They challenge you to think differently. When Martin Luther King stood there authentically and shared and said, I had a dream, and he was thinking differently. At that time, it was very different to think that a black man and a white man are the same person. It was very different. It was unheard of. So we can mock it now and say, what the hell, today it's not an issue because some once thought differently and acted on it. So that intellectual stimulation, individualized consideration. So leaders attend to each follower's need for growth. You don't copy paste it to everyone. The element of mentorship and coaching is very strong. So you can't be that transformational leader if you're not ready to get down and dirty with each one in your team and coach and mentor. So that's the four eyes of transformational leadership. Now, why does it matter? What's the big deal? Why not just transactional leadership or servant leadership or all the other types of leadership? Because with transformational leadership, you first of all boost personal growth. So now we're diving into, first of all, transformational leadership. It's not just about CEOs and managers, but it's anyone looking to grow personally and professionally. So if you're seeking personal growth, you're seeking professional growth, you're seeking to go beyond the limits the societal or corporate limits that have been set to leadership, then that's what transformational leadership is. So when you talk about boost personal growth, transformational leadership isn't just about guiding other people. It starts by guiding yourself. So there's a reflective element to it. It pushes you to reflect on your strengths. What are your weaknesses? How are you challenging your assumptions? How are you encouraging lifelong learning, for example? So it pushes you to look internally. That's one reason why it matters. The other one is benefits without managing teams. So basically critical thinking. Even if you don't manage a team, let's imagine, right? You don't manage a team. Maybe you are part of a team that's being managed. No. The principles of transformational leadership can still help you excel the role that requires creativity and innovation. So it becomes a skill that you need to, it teaches you thinking outside the box. Which is critical to any job. It teaches you problem solving, critical thinking. So what does this do? When your manager is looking at you, they're thinking, wow, that's a valuable asset. That's a valuable skill Mr. or Mrs. XYZ has. So it basically builds your what's the word? The ability for you to stand out in the role that you're already in. The next one, it prepares you for the future. So the future of work it's all about, when you talk about future of work, the future skills, it's all about human centric skills: empathy, adaptability, emotional intelligence. These are skills that transformational leadership helps to build. So when you're reading all these Forbes and Harvard uh, journals about what the future of work is going to look like and how you need to survive to be relevant in the future of work, those three things, empathy, adaptability, emotional intelligence, are very, very high up in the list. And as a transformational leadership student, you have to learn these things. So now it's preparing for the future. It increases job satisfaction. So transformational leaders tend to create environments where people feel valued. This increases job satisfaction, it reduces turnover, it drives better results for both the employees and the organizations. And then, of course, it's aligned with purpose. So, this approach helps align the approach to transformational leadership, your journey, should you choose to become that, is it aligns personal goals with professional goals. So when you understand how your work contributes to a larger mission, it becomes more fulfilling. So you align it with purpose. So whether you're leading a team, like I said, or just yourself, Adopting a transformational mindset helps you navigate change, innovate, find fulfillment in whatever you do. And most important, if you're to take anything out of these 5 points, is it prepares you for the future. Every time I'm coaching or mentoring or we're talking with teams, is how I'm scared. The AI is taking over. We have jobs being made redundant because of that. ABCD. How do I remain relevant? Prepare yourself for the future, and becoming a transformational leader is one of those ways that you do that. Okay, so some core traits of transformational leadership. So we've talked about this. We've talked about the theories. So transformational leadership, it's not just about the theories or the frameworks that have been put out there. Sorry. It's also about real actions and behaviors that inspire positive change. So just let's explore how this looks like in practice. If you are to practice how to be a transformational leader, these are the core traits. Number one, charisma. Charisma is a key. I can't stress this enough. It's a key element of transformational leaders. If you go research today and try and do some case studies on transformational leaders of today's time, of modern history even, you'll find that they're all charismatic. It's a key element. What is that? It's the ability to draw people in with a magnetic personality and create a sense of trust, of admiration. Have you ever been in a room and there's certain people that just stand out? You feel drawn to them. There's a way they smile, there's a way they're standing. It just looks easy, it looks inviting. You just want to go stand next to them and soak in all that energy. That's charisma. And what that does is people tend to trust you. They're like, I mean, come on, look at her, how she's talking. Look at him, how he's talking. Oh, tell me more, tell me more. Now they're building a trust. And there's a sense of admiration. So charisma is very key. Think of leaders who have a natural way of connecting with people. Oprah Winfrey, when she walks into a room and starts talking, there's a way she talks, there's a way she uses her hands, there's a way she goes high and low, and it just makes them feel heard, it makes them feel valued. That connection builds the foundation of trust. And that foundation of trust is what is essential in leading any change that you want to lead. And that's why it's an important core trait of transformational leadership. The other one is vision. So transformational leaders are defined by their vision, their ability to believe it, to conceive it, and to make other people believe it. It's like their North Star. You're out in the sea and you're following the North Star. It's so compelling. It gives people something to believe in, to strive towards. And at any point of human history, human beings have always needed to believe in something, to strive towards something. Now you find that vision and make it so compelling. That's what creates the vision bearer element. It's not about setting goals. It's about painting a picture of the future and getting everyone else to be excited and committed to the journey. So a great example, uh, Elon Musk, for example, his vision for space exploration, sustainability. First of all, he chose two elements to spearhead that are so relevant to today's generation, to today's mankind. Today, those are things that we want to know. We want to know about space exploration. We need sustainability, or the world is crumbling around us. So he already chose elements and topics that were already going to interest people. And then his vision rallied he managed to rally the talent and the resources towards ambitious goals like reusable rockets, electric vehicles, And just like that, he had a vision that everyone wants a piece of now. They're like, okay, that's the future of the world. We want that. And because he has a vision, believed in it. At some point, people called him crazy. They said it's never going to work. It's just waste of time and money and resources. And then today, he's having the last laugh. So he believed in his vision, he held on to it. The naysayers came, people tried to shoot him down, but his resilience and enabled him to prove the vision and just strengthening his followers even more. Number three, very important, very critical in today's day and age, war, virtual settings, people are more disconnected than ever. Empathy. Empathy is the ability to, is the, sorry, empathy is often underrated in leadership. You, like, we find lead, especially, okay, let's look at Africa, for example. Because Africa has produced like a zillion, um, what's it called, draconian leaders, the ones who are kind of just going, they are what we call the transactional, or the firm, the traditional leadership. uh, what has happened is empathy became underrated. It's not looked at as a critical requirement or core trait. It's just looked at, if you have it, well and good. If not, you don't need it. That's kind of how it's looked at. So because it's underrated, because of being so, sorry, it's so underrated, but it's a powerful tool for creating now those deeper connections that you need as a transformational leader. Transformational leaders use this empathy to understand their team's needs and their feelings. So it's not just about being a good listener, or or just come, I give you a hug. No, no. It's about actively tuning into the emotion of others and adapting your approach accordingly. So not a cut and paste. Remember, like we said in the beginning, every person is different. Everyone needs to be heard. I need to hear what your pains are, and I need to address your pains. So being able to, if we empathy kind of empathy fosters that inclusive environment where team members or followers feel valued, which directly translates to an increase in engagement, an increase in morale. People want to be engaged with you. They feel morally stimulated to be with you. The next one is inspiration. So the ability to inspire is what sets the transformational leader apart from any other sort of leader. No, you just, the ones that just, those leaders that just come and tell you, do this, do this, do this. So with inspiration, transformational leaders don't just tell people what they do to do. They inspire them to see their potential to pursue excellence. So you're not coming and telling me, do this, Najda, do this, do this. No, you're coming and telling me, do you not understand how great you are? Yesterday at this meeting, you did ABCD. I couldn't even fathom reacting the way you did. Do you realize the greatness within you? And then I go and sit and think, wow, oh my God, I'm capable of so much more. And then I'm able to pursue excellence. And that's how you transform people. So that they use powerful stories, they share their vision passionately, they they expose themselves through using their own stories, for example, and then they model the behaviors that others, they want others to emulate. They lead as an example. If they say, okay, we're not going to eat meat today, or we're going to become vegetarians, and that's my vision because we have to sustain the production of meat and blah blah blah. They're not just saying that and then at home they're eating a burger. They're emulating and becoming role models themselves by emulating those behaviors so that others can follow. So, like, again, using the example of Martin Luther King, his speeches, his vision for equality continue to inspire generations even today. His words move people to action. Even at his death, that action continued, that vision continued. People took the mantle and kept going. That's how powerful, how inspirational he was, that he didn't physically even have to be there for the change to occur, for his vision to continue to see fruition. So when charisma, vision, empathy, and inspiration come together, transformational leadership becomes a powerful force of change. So it's not about commanding, it's about inspiring. It's not about commanding, it's about understanding. It's not about commanding, it's about leading by example. So this approach of transformational leadership not only drives results for teams and organizations, but then it cultivates a more meaningful, a more motivating work environment where everyone is involved. And so when you want, there are the traits of transformational leaders, but these are what you say are the core. You have these four, you master these four, you make it an art to perform these four, you'll be leading as as a transformative leader. So I just want to check if there's any questions or anything up until here before I can continue.
Please continue, Najda.
Okay, great. So, just some story. I think I always believe in storytelling kind of presentations. They're more engaging. And um, so, let me take you back to when I first stepped into leadership role. So, just picture this: a young leader, full of ideas, full of energy. I'm sure we've all been there or we're there right now, ready to conquer the world. But instead, I found myself in the deep end. Okay, most unfortunate because, like we said, one of the main things is mentorship and coaching. And not every time do you have that leader who's put you in a leadership position, who has coached you or mentored you to be there. So a lot of the time, you will be full of energy, you will be full of ideas, but you'll find yourself in the deep end, like I did, struggling with now those team dynamics, feeling more. I felt more like a referee in a sports match than a leader because you're just trying to fix things, trying to stop people from fighting, trying to, like instead of a leader. So it was a challenging time. And quickly I learned that barking orders or saying no, don't do this, and saying do this, it wasn't cutting it. It wasn't working. People were not responding to it. So I decided to flip the script. I think maybe that's where of course, reading a lot of books on how to be a leader and everything, and transformational leadership stood out to me. So I decided to flip the script. I focused on empathy and active listening, and possibly, obviously, my role in HR and my experience in HR enabled me to, I knew the skill, I had the skill, so I applied it. Empathy, active listening, creating a safe space for my team to express what are their thoughts, what are their feelings. And you know what? Let me tell you, it worked like magic. Just that one small change, it worked like magic. We managed to transform from a group of individuals to now this cohesive team, and that was able to work together quicker, faster, more innovation, and our results as a team soared. We met KPIs way before they were due. We were uh, the knocking it no out of the park. So now, don't get me wrong. I still had my moments. You know, there were times there's thoughts of self sabotage. You're thinking, am I really cut out for this? There's all those moments. I even once I remember, and it became a topic of discussion until today. I accidentally sent a all staff email in which was supposed to be a quarterly report, but it was of a snake eating an impala because I love snakes and I love reptiles. And then it just became a topic of discussion. And until today, some people are still apprehensive of me, wondering, in Kenya, in Africa, generally snakes are the devils and they are witchcraft. So it became a story that we laugh about till now. But those laughs, they brought us closer. They reminded us that, I mean, leadership doesn't have to be serious all the time. And I can imagine all of you numerous times in your career have met those leaders, the ones who come in and they have that boss ego. You don't talk to me, don't laugh with me, I'm always angry. And this is the biggest problem with the leadership that we are used to, the leadership culture we have built versus now transformational leadership. So it doesn't have to be serious all the time. Have fun with it. All right. So now here are a few takeaway points from this story. For example, empathy builds bridges. So understanding your team's feelings fosters trust and encourages open communication. Active listening. Remember, I'm not saying listening. Listening is very different from active listening. Active is intentional, it's deliberate. Active listening is key. When team members feel heard, they're more likely to engage and to contribute creatively. Creatively means innovation, you know. So lighten up. Humor and relatability can break down the barrier and make leadership more approachable. So please don't be what you are used to seeing. Be the person that becomes more approachable. So adapt and grow. Embrace challenges as opportunities. Learn to evolve into a better leader. You can't just say, okay, one thing about transformational leadership, it's a continuous journey until you die. You can't just say, I did a transformational leadership coach, now I'm set for life. No, the reason it's transformational is because it's evolution. You're going to keep evolving, you're going to keep learning, you're going to have different challenges and embrace them and learn and keep transforming. It's a never ending evolution. It's growth. Okay. So skills that we will need, if you are, now we've talked about the core traits. How do we achieve these core traits? You can achieve the core traits through building certain skills. Active listening, we've said, it's a key to transformation. So why is it, what's about active learning? It's the importance of understanding the team needs. So, teams with leaders who practice active listening are 25% more likely to feel satisfied with their job. How do you build the skill? Regularly engage your team. Feedback sessions, make sure you have feedback sessions. People hate feedback. Why? You don't want to expose yourself to be told you speak too fast, I don't understand what you're saying, you're too rude, or can you please slow down, you're overburdening me. No, no, no. Feedback means you are opening yourself up to criticism, and not many people are comfortable with that. So they avoid it. But if you're going to be a transformational leader, you're going to need to be open to receiving and giving feedback regularly. So that would mean, if you want to build your skill for active listening, engage the team in feedback sessions where every member shares their thoughts. Ensure that you summarize what you've heard and to confirm understanding. That's one way to build that skill. Another thing, enhance employee engagement. So organizations with high employee engagement see 21% higher profitability. How do you build this skill? Incorporate open-ended questions in one-on-one meetings. So, first of all, have one on one meetings. In those meetings, incorporate open ended questions, not questions that are already have an answer. Open ended questions will encourage employees to express what are their needs, what are their ideas freely without feeling, okay, that question doesn't really have an open end for me to answer. So, what does this do? It fosters a more engaged workforce. Number three, reduce conflict and miscommunication. And you do this by actively listening. Sorry, I can't see the slide. One second. Yeah. Active listening significantly reduces workplace conflicts by 30%. How do you build this skill? I can't see. Okay. It's cut to 1 second. It's cut my slide, so I can't read what's written at the bottom. Okay. Um, Practice nonverbal cues like nodding and maintaining eye contact. Have you ever been in a meeting with a boss or somebody senior, and they're talking to you but they're not talking to you, they're listening to you but they're not listening to you, they've been on their phone, they've signed a couple of letters as you're talking? Please avoid that. It's due respect. Practice nonverbal cues. Nod, maintain eye contact, show genuine interest, so that I can be more open, communicate with you more openly. Okay, so the next one, today StreamYard is acting up. Build trust as a leader. Foundation of transformational leadership. High trust organizations are 2.5 times more likely to outperform their peers. How do you build that skill? Share your vulnerabilities and challenges openly with your team. Tell them, this is where I'm struggling, guys. This is where I've hit a block. This is what's happening. It humanizes you. It fosters trustful environment. Then people start brainstorming and they can even help you out and probably solve the issue you're having. Increase team performance. How do you do this? Create a culture of transparency by consistently communicating both the successes and the challenges. Allow your team to feel informed and valued. Many leaders will tend to tell only a few people. Then those few people will go around like peacocks. Ho ho! I know, the boss told me, and then decide who to tell and when to tell. And this will make what? Oh, there's favorism, or maybe I did something wrong. No, you need your whole team to feel informed, to feel valued, and to feel like equal for the equality element. So enhance employee retention. 56% of employees leave a job if they feel their leader did not trust them. That's a huge number. How do you build this skill to enhance employee retention? Conduct regular team building activities to strengthen relationships, foster a sense of community, which builds trust over time. So, trust is a key element. Driving results through vision. You need a clarity of direction. Dedicate time to craft a compelling vision statement. Make sure it is aligned with your team's values and goals. Many companies compile the vision statement and just go and inform the team. But their value, their goals are not incorporated. They're not aligned in the vision statement, so they don't buy into it. And then share it consistently in meetings, in communications. Make sure it's always been reminded to them what the vision is, what the vision is. And then inspire innovation. Encourage your team Encourage team brainstorming sessions where everyone can contribute to ideas related to the vision. Foster a sense of ownership and innovation. This is how you do that. Align teams with align team efforts. And so how do we do this? um, Regularly revisit the vision statement in team meetings. Ensure everyone understands the role in achieving it. Create a unified effort towards sharing objectives. Okay. And I guess the last one, sorry, where was I? Yeah, I think that's the one. Okay. Overcoming challenges. So, of course, doesn't mean because you're a transformational leader and you have all this empathy and everything and vision and charisma that you're still not going to find challenges. You will. But you need to focus on the resistance to change. 70% of change initiatives fail due to resistance. It's human nature. Human beings do not like change. Leave me in my comfort zone. You need to fight, you need to find a way to fight that resistance to change. How do you do this? Implement transparent communication strategies. Why is there a change? What is the reason for the change? Which can mitigate resistance and encourage buy-in from the team. Once you tell the team, hey, listen, this is why we're changing, this is the reason why we need to do this, already people will trust you because they feel you're telling the truth. But if you come on and just say, okay, this is the change, take it or leave it, we're not doing anything from there. You need their buy-in. Maintain team motivation. Celebrate small wins. That's a great way to do this. When you're in team meetings, try and keep the morale high. Remind team members of the progress that's being made. uh, Basically this sustains motivation. And then promote open communication. Foster an environment where the team members feel safe to express concern, safe to express feedback openly, using tools like anonymous surveys, for example, so that somebody can feel safe. Like, I won't be ostracized or made fun of, or picked on if because I gave honest input. Okay, so I said one of the skills that we're going to focus on a bit in more detail is emotional intelligence. Again, not just a buzzword, a critical, crucial element of transformative leaders. And there's no way you're hacking this without understanding what emotional intelligence is and understanding how to apply it on yourself and your teams, or the teams you will seek to or want to grow to be able to lead one day. So, what is EQ or EI? It's the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while being able to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. Simple, plain, and that's the best way put. So, ability to recognize, understand, manage your emotions, and then recognize, understand, and manage and influence the emotions of others. So, there are five key components of EQ: self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So these are what you'd say are the components that now make up emotional intelligence. You need to be self aware, you need to self regulate, you need to motivate, you need empathy, and you need social skills. Why is EQ crucial for transformational leadership? It enhances decision making. So, emotionally intelligent leaders made 60% more effective decisions than their less emotionally aware counterparts. It improves team collaboration. 90% of top performers have a high EQ. That's a staggering number. That's huge. All 90% of top performers have high emotional intelligence, which contributes to positive team dynamics and obviously enhanced performance. Increases engagement, employee engagement. So teams with high employee engagement can, oh, I can't read again, it's cut off. Teams with high employee engagement can lead to 21% higher profitability and 17% um, high productivity. So, some practical exercises to improve your emotional intelligence, because this is where most of the questions get asked. So, okay, fine, it's great, it's important, it's critical, but how do I achieve it? One, self reflection, journaling. So we all know we're told always pen down your thoughts, write your thoughts down. Maintain a journal where you reflect on your daily emotional experiences. This practice helps identify emotional triggers. What made you feel triggered? How was your response to it? And this now, as you write it down, as you read it, as you contemplate it again, makes you what? Self-aware. Remember, we said that's one of the core elements of EQ. Active listening workshops. Organize workshops focused on active listening techniques, where leaders, where you practice reflecting back what you've heard to enhance your empathy and understanding of team members' emotion. Empathy mapping. This is it is pretty interesting. So use empathy maps in team discussions to encourage leaders to step in the shoes of their team members. So it actively helps in understanding different perspectives and emotional states, fostering a more inclusive environment. And most importantly, last but not least, feedback sessions. Like I told you, feedback is critical. Continuous feedback, not the ones that are given at the end of the year at performance reviews. No, constant feedback, continuous feedback. Implement regular feedback sessions where team members can share their perceptions of their leader, what their leader's emotional awareness. This peer feedback is crucial for growth and it can highlight areas of improvement. So you should not be ignoring it. So this is the part I was saying I was hoping to cover today.
All right. We seem to have lost Najda's audio. Just give me a moment to reconnect with her. Hi, Najda.
Hi, I seem to have dropped because of the internet.
Okay. I'll just give you a moment to present the deck
Yeah.
again. No pressure. And thank you so much for powering through this. I can hear you coughing in the background, and I'm thinking, wow, this is dedication next level. Thank you so much.
I know I'm struggling with this sore throat, but it's okay. I'm power. Yeah, thanks.
All right. So, Najda, as we're waiting for StreamYard to catch up with us, since today seems to be having a bit of a network issue, I'm also waiting for the deck to show up on my end. Maybe I could ask you, can you share your personal journey to becoming a transformational leader? What exactly happened, or rather, what is that key moment that shaped your decision to pursue this path?
So I guess I've always um, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Najda, we can hear you.
Okay. So I think I have a deep passion for inspiring positive change. At this time and age, I'm even now doing a PhD in social transformation. So for me, positive change, empowering others, igniting igniting the, like, to be able to sit with Noeline and have a conversation with her and then leave having impacted Noeline to reflect and realize the greatness within her. It's like planting a seed, watering it, and then coming a week later or a month later and finding a whole tree with roots, and the ability to the knowledge that we all have the ability and the power to do that to others, to have that impact on others, is what fueled that passion, this for me. So throughout my career, I've witnessed, like, firsthand how leadership can shape organizational cultures, how leadership can shape people's lives and change the entire trajectory it's going. How just empathy, just having a small discussion with someone can change from if they're going to go and turn their life around or decide to take their life. Like, literally, that's how extreme it is. Just an empathic conversation. So the change that it can drive was so profound. I just said, no, there has to be more to leadership than signing big checks and being in meetings all day and just constantly being unapproachable and stuff like that, because that's what we grew up seeing as leadership. The dictatorships we've witnessed in Africa, all the history of Africa, it's all forged through traditional leadership, and that's what we've grown up knowing, so, and seeing. So I found myself, of course, then drawn to qualities of transformational leaders, and I wanted to read up about them and understand them. And of course, we knew about Mahatma Gandhi, we know about uh, Mandela, we know about Martin Luther King, we know about Mother Teresa, Princess Diana. We know about these people. They're not just names, we know their stories. And they just always, like, so imagine, I mean, yes, they had leadership positions, but why do they stand out from the rest? I mean, Donald Trump is a leader, is a global leader. He's been the president of a big country, but why is he not? Why is his story not transformational? Whereas Princess Diana, who wasn't even born into the monarchy, was married into it, was somebody we remember and are more fond of. So what's the difference? And so it just, reading about them, those who inspired the share vision, just wanting to challenge the status quo. That's basically what fueled my belief for continuous growth. And so I just wanted, and then I'm also somebody who's continuously evolving. Honestly, I believe in transformation myself. I'm not the Najda who was on the same call the last time we had this discussion. I'm not. I've changed on many levels. We've talked about just me pursuing a PhD since the last time we spoke. That was just a few months ago. Um, Other than that, on a personal level, I have changed tremendously. I believe you can't grow if you don't change. And so evolution in our thoughts, in our perceptions, in how we do things, needs to also continuously evolve and change. And I guess, yeah, that's what has reinforced my commitment to this approach.
Thank you for sharing that, and also for trailblazing, even as we are trying to transition from the fear mongering leadership style into more empathy
Mm,
leadership style, and more so in some corporate spaces where empathy is considered to be weakness, and there are people who even
yeah.
prey on the empathy of others. So
Mm.
thank you for trailblazing and even giving us the structure and the tools to lead with wisdom and with empathy. So
You're
I'll just hand it
welcome.
over to
Thanks.
you. Thank you, thank
Okay.
you. Let's go
So
on.
you've gone back to the slide we were on, right? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, yes. So here we were. We were at this section and this segment, and that's what I was saying. I was hoping that we can have in the next slide. We're now entering the segment for scenarios. I love scenarios because in my training type, in how I train when I'm doing my trainings or my development sessions, is I don't like to leave the audience with, this is why, this is what you do, this is how you do it. Okay, thank you very much, goodbye. No, I like to go into a practical scenario so that somebody can place themselves in a room, in somebody's shoes, and understand. So let's look at scenario one, leading through change. Okay, so how you apply transformational leadership. So I'm just going to read it through, and hopefully you're all reading along with me. Implementing a new company policy with transparency and team input. Jane, who's our protagonist today. So Jane, a mid-level manager at a tech startup, faced resistance when introducing a new remote work policy. Instead of imposing the change, she organized a team meeting where everyone was encouraged to share their thoughts and concerns. Jane facilitated an open discussion, ensuring that each voice was heard. By actively listening and integrating feedback, she created a sense of ownership amongst her team. The policy was refined collaboratively, leading to higher acceptance and motivation. So, this scenario highlights that transformational leadership qualities such as individualized consideration, intellectual stimulation, and inspirational motivation are uh, are critical in leading through change. So, if we're looking at a scene right now, and this is where we place ourselves in the shoe, and I don't know, Noeline, if there going to be anyone maybe willing to take part in this, but basically, if there is, please let me know. I'd love to hear what anyone has to say. So this is navigating a team conflict, and I want you to immerse yourself in this scene. This is you, and you're the team leader. You're a team leader at a software development company. During a project meeting, two team members, Sarah and Mike, strongly disagree. They clash about a decision of a crucial feature of this software that you're developing. Sarah believes the feature should prioritize user experience. Mike insists on focusing on the technical capabilities. Tension has escalated. The rest of the team has started becoming uncomfortable. People are whispering and spreading rumors. They are unsure whether they should take sides or they should speak up. As a leader, you notice that this conflict is not just affecting the atmosphere, but also the productivity and creativity of the team. So, the question is, what would you do in this situation? Considering everything we've learned so far about transformational leadership, now you're in crisis. You're going into crisis mode. There's a crisis going on. What would you in this do you do in this situation? How would you address the conflict between Sarah and Mike while maintaining a positive team dynamic? I'm going to just pause here for a minute, hoping there will be some comments or anything before I go to the next slide where we'll eventually discuss how to do it. But for everyone listening in and who will listen in, we're talking about this scene, navigating team conflict, and how you and answering these two questions based on the session we've already have had on transformational leadership traits and elements. And so it's just kind of immerse yourself in that scene, and how would you deal with it with the knowledge you've learned today.
Najda, I'll take this one and be the what's the word that I'm looking for that says the English escapes me. Anyhow, I'll try take this one and try and
So you're the
respond.
team leader, and
Okay.
now you okay, great, tell me.
I think I'd want to understand, why does Sarah feel so strongly about the user experience, and why does Mike feel so strongly about the technical capabilities? And what is the common ground for the two? How do we marry the two together and just bring these two together? Could we move to the next slide? But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, how do I make sure that this conflict does not trickle onto the rest of the team? And perhaps it will be wisdom to also ask the rest of the team what they think. How do we marry the two? What will I
Hmm.
do? I will ask them, why are you feeling so strongly about customer experience? Why are you feeling so strongly about technical capabilities? And at the end of the day, what does the customer want? Because there's no point of us developing something that the end user is not interested in. What's the trade-off? What can we do first? How would you address the conflict between Sarah and Mike while maintaining a positive team dynamic? Sit them down and ask them that, and then get everyone else to weigh in, and we find common ground, even if it means facing the whole project so that we are able to attend to the different needs at different phases. What we need, we keep. What we don't need, we agree to drop. My thoughts.
Okay, great. So let me ask you, Nalin,
Mhm.
you said you want to speak to them. That's great. So you active listening. How will you conduct this speaking? Like what? Imagine yourself in the scenario. Tell me how you're speaking to them. You get my question?
Yes, I do. So, assuming Sarah and Mike are in the room with me, which I understand
Mm-hmm.
also has its complexity, I would want them to take turns speaking, and I'd ask Sarah, why do you feel so strongly about this thing? And then I'd ask them, listen, suspend judgment, don't jump in, just let the other person talk until they're done. And Mike, why do you feel so strongly about technical capabilities? Okay, the two of you, where do you think the middle ground is? What can you work on together? Because at the end of the day, we have a deliverable that needs to be given to the business and to the end customer. What support do you need to make it happen?
Okay. I mean, I think that's great. You you've we'll go to the next slide to see the most appropriate way to have dealt with it. But you've talked about speaking to them, actively listening to why this is so important to them, speaking to the team as well, so that you can
Mm,
find out how to merge the two. And I like the element of, so what exactly does the client want? Like we can spend a whole week here discussing it, but if that's not what the client wants, then it's not, important.
yeah.
So just to go, let this is how we do it. So you already mentioned active listening. The only difference is the how. Schedule separate meetings. So you would have a meeting separately with Sarah first, then you'd have a separate meeting with Mike. You want to listen to their perspectives without the interruptions. Now, I understand you already said you're going to tell them, no, don't interrupt, let this one talk. But you that's what you want, but you have no control over what would happen. And why separate? Transformational leaders practice active listening. They need to understand the different viewpoints, show empathy, and value team members' contributions. And remember, we said not really cutting and pasting, understanding that every person is different. So now Sarah is different and very passionate. Mike is different and very passionate. So yes, you've mentioned active listening. The only difference would do it separately first. Then, after you've given them the space, and you've gotten what them to get off their chest, and you've shown empathy and everything, now you facilitate the open dialogue. You already mentioned that as well, so great. You organize the team meeting with your team. Sarah and Mike will now both present the ideas to the entire team. They will encourage questions and discussions. And that's exactly what you said. Ask the team what they think and how to marry the two. This is that part. Why is this important? It approaches for approach This approach fosters an environment of collaboration. All voices will be heard, and it will ensure team cohesion. Now, through this meeting, either Sarah or Mike will have to give up their idea and say, okay, well, it seems like the team is moving more towards this. I see the sense in it. Or the team could decide, no, actually, we like both ideas. So we are going to help you, Sarah and Mike, find a way to merge the two, like you were saying. It's one of the two things that could happen. And then, of course, you foster a safe environment. So, how do you do this? You reinforce the importance of psychological safety. Remind the team different opinions can lead to better outcomes, and that constructive conflict is healthy. If everyone's always agreeing, you will never have innovation. You'll never have people questioning the whys. So having people question why this and that healthy conflict, the constructive conflict is very healthy. So why is this important? Safe spaces encourage team members to express ideas without fear. It's very essential for fostering creativity and engagement. So as a transformational leader, you've not gone and told Sarah and Mike, you guys, why the hell did you do this? Look at now, the whole team is messed up. Everyone is freaking out. Everyone's worried. Why did you start fighting? Why couldn't you just agree? No, no, no. You're telling them, I like this. I like that this is a constructive conflict. It's healthy. It has made you people think outside the box. It's making the whole team right now figure out a way to have both your ideas gone. So when you foster that safe environment, you will enhance constructive conflict, which is very healthy. Providing support and follow up. So now you would then offer your support to Sarah and Mike as they implement that combined ideas. You won't just be like, okay, I'm done. I've resolved this conflict, and then you HEPA. No, you need to constantly be there. The element of conflict still happening is still there, remember, because somebody, yeah, human beings at the end of the day, there's some people, who have, what is it, rohondogo, there's so many elements to human nature that could make a conflict arise again. Ensuring that you're constantly on checking up on them. Do you need my help? Here's my support. I'm staying back with you tonight. We're working on this together. Is also not only for support, but also to kind of be on their tails, make sure everyone is doing their part, and providing now the resources, the guidance, a listening ear, a helping hand. Why this is important? Remember, we said transformational leaders empower their team members by being part of it. That's the vision, and I'm going to lead by example by being there. So you've not left the team working overnight, burning the midnight oil and eating pizzain, and then while you're sleeping at home under your nice duvet or watching a movie cuddled up with your wife or husband, or you're there, you're hands on with them, and that's how you're empowering them. You help them feel supported, and then this leads to motivation and productivity. So I think, I don't know, Noeline, do you feel like while you had the great gist, you talked about actively speaking, you talked about, sorry, active listening, you talked about opening the dialogue. Do you feel like you can now see the difference in the elements we've learned from the explanation slides?
I do. I do. I hear you on separating them before bringing them together and then reintegrating with the team on the area of conflict. And even as I'm listening to you, beginning to understand that conflict resolution takes a lot of time because it
Oh,
presents
yeah,
a risk to relationships and team dynamics. But I suppose
exactly.
that's what distinguishes the transformational leader from just any other leader, the willingness
Yes,
to put in the work.
put in the work and do all these things that other leaders don't do, or believe to be weak, weak leadership. And
Hmm.
I guess for anyone listening to this, for me, for you, as a reminder for everyone, is be that change. We cannot let the next generation come into any other form of leadership. Come on, once you've understood this and you've let it flow in your blood, you'll realize how, once you've had the privilege of working under a transformative leader, once you've had the privilege of being a transformational leader and hearing feedback from a team that just says, you've been life changing to me, then you will realize that the whole world needs to experience this. So I hope today we will all leave as ambassadors of this change. So, as we come to conclude, as we navigate the complexities of today's world, this is what I'm trying to say. The need for transformational leadership has never been greater. We look at the world, you turn on Instagram or TikTok or the news today, it's heartbreaking everywhere at every turn, whether it's office, whether somebody has committed suicide or has been bombed or has had to lose their job, 300 people here, 100 people there. Like, it's the need for transformational leadership is now more than ever. And by embracing emotional intelligence, fostering trust, and driving results through compelling vision, we can cultivate those environments where individuals thrive and organizations excel. It's not transformational leadership. It's not like those sci-fi movies like Star Wars, where you're going to some distant planet and talking to aliens. It's not. Having gone through just this less than 1.5 hours already, these are real life, day to day skills and elements that we should all possess as it's Utu. If you understand the concept of Utu, then you understand that transformational leadership is Utu. It's being human. It's being humane. It's applying humanity and humaneness every day to everything that you're doing and everyone that surrounds you. So remember, transformational leadership, it's not just a role, it's a journey of continuous growth and continuous impact. So while we've done this today, I invite you to, my call to action for you is this. I told you, we're all leaving here today as ambassadors for transformational leadership. Go read about it, go learn about it, go do something about it, tell somebody about it. But I also invite you to take the next step in your leadership journey. So I have a 3 level masterclass on transformational leadership. It's so concentrated. That's why it's a masterclass and it's in 3 levels: level one, level two, level three. It's a deep dive into the principles and practices that can elevate now your leadership capacities. Case studies, scenarios, quizzes, you can't imagine. It's the whole works. So that by the time you're done with level three, you have evolved to a practical example of a transformative leader. So, whether you're just starting out, you're looking to refine your skills, this masterclass provides you with that actionable insights and tools to make a lasting impact in your organization. So, if you're interested, engage with me for more details on how you can transform your leadership style and become a catalyst for positive change. I guess, Noeline, that's the end. Remember, everyone, you have the potential to be the transformational leader. It's in all of us. Creating a positive impact on your team, organization, and the world. Like I said, doesn't stop at your office. So, together, let's all embrace this new era of leadership and transform the world around us. You can find me on LinkedIn. I hope you can all just go and search Najda Khan and add me and let's connect. That's my email. That's my number. If you want to get in touch with me on the Transformational Leadership Masterclass or anything else, please do get in touch with me and let me know. And I'd love to connect with you. Noeline, back to you.
Thank you so much, Najda. I'm going to follow up with you for how do you say, register for your master classes, and then I'll put it on LinkedIn for our audience to be able to follow up with you. But you can also reach out to Najda on her LinkedIn handle, on her email, and on the cell number that she is sharing on here. Najda, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm thinking, if you're managing upwards, meaning you're not the leader who is trying to embrace this for your team, but you are the team member who is trying to manage senior leadership, and you are encountering an abrasive person, a hostile person, a screamer, quote unquote, how do you employ what you just said to us on transformational leadership to be able to manage the relationship while also not coming across and to be perceived the wrong way? How do we do this?
Oh, okay. So, first of all,
Mhm.
and I know this is a hard pill to swallow, but one of the things you will need to understand is you cannot be in a toxic environment. And I know we all have bills to pay and we all need to, to meet certain requirements of us at the end of the month, and that's why we stay in jobs and with bosses that are toxic and detrimental to our mental health. But I'll always say, in today's day and age, with a lot of nuances, I mean, a lot of the issues that we're facing generationally in today's world, please, if you ever find yourself in a situation where a boss is a screamer or that kind of a toxic person, then you need to find a way out. So, but here, I think I would say that well, empathy still comes in here, right? When you're dealing with a toxic person, a yeller, a screamer, you need to maybe put some work into understanding what's the root cause of their behavior. Does it doesn't mean that you need to accept the toxicity, but you need to recognize that it may stem from stress, insecurity. Maybe they feel insecure about their position. Any external pressure, maybe it's easy to if it's easy for you to identify why they're behaving the way they are, if there is an external element, then it might make you understand it better. But the practical step is probably initiate a one-on-one conversation. Every person on the face of this earth, no, from the bad, the good, the bad, the indifferent, whatever it is, needs to needs a listening ear, or needs to be approached. You'll always find when there's conflict, or there is a harsh person versus a not so harsh person, there we come up with preconceived notions. Ah, ni mtu mbaya tu. This person is just a horrible person. He's just a bad boss. She's just a bad boss. We come up with conclusions to kind of give our as a coping mechanism. So I would say initiate a one-on-one conversation. Focus on listening without judgment. Maybe listen. I understand where you're coming from. It's stressful. Your job is stressful. You're leading a team. I'm part of that team, but I need to have this discussion with you because ABCD. It's affecting how I'm working. It's affecting some of my coworkers. I just need to understand. Do you have an? Is there a problem with how I do my work? Would you prefer me to do it differently? But I'm coming from a point where I want to understand what your issues are so that I can maybe offload them from you a bit, but also build a rapport with you that is not stemming from a place of hostility or shouting all the time. And you'll be shocked. Someone just go like, "Oh my God, Nailene, I didn't know I was affecting you that much. I am going through something right now. My daughter had, an accident in school and broke her leg, and it's just been very hard. I'm dealing with that. I have to go from hospital to work to meetings, and guys aren't understanding what and okay, listen, Nailene, I'm going to change how I've been doing this. It's not right. On the other hand, can you please take up tomorrow's meeting with me so that I can be with my daughter at the hospital?" Imagine something happens like that. Just imagine. And like I'm saying, one-on-one conversations are so underrated. It's crazy. The simplest way, but people don't do it anymore. They fear the what they could hear or how it could go. So I think that's number one. If I was saying that, but if you are, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would say. Yeah, maybe if you keep, whatever it is, whether he did it or she did it shoutingly or aggressively, he or
Mhm.
she, as the leader, has at some point communicated a vision to you, right? Anyone,
Yeah.
listen, we need to make $1 million by December. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but that's the vision right now. And we need to work in this market, or we need to do it this way. So if you, for example, um, say, I think we both want this project to succeed. Yeah. Let's
Mhm.
explore on how we can make that happen together. Reiterate to this boss who is now, let me tell you, when they're sitting later on and they're like, wait, Yenny, who's the boss here? Is it Noelino or is it me? Because listen to how she's been talking to me. Remember, this is how you're practically applying. I told you, being a transformational leader doesn't mean you have to have a team to lead. You could be part of the team that's being led.
Mm.
So this is some way. Maintain the communication to your boss that you understand the vision, that you want the project to succeed, but you want to explore how you can make it happen together. I'm just seeking your guidance. You're my leader. I need you to understand. I really want this to work. This is the vision. I get it. This is how what I'm doing to it, but we need to make it happen together. And again, taking off his or her shoulder that, like, oh my God, she actually understands the vision, she knows what she's doing, the team knows what they're doing, that kind of a thing. But last but not least, let me say this, as I said at the start, you need to set boundaries, of course, with respect and assertiveness, but set some boundaries. I feel that when we have conversations, they become a bit negative. It affects the morale of the team. I would really appreciate if we could focus on solutions during our discussions, and not much on the screaming and the yelling or the name calling. Just set boundaries, but with respect, but be a bit assertive. It's crucial when you're managing a toxic relationship because it protects your own well-being and it maintains a healthy dynamic. It's kind of like shaking a person by the shoulders, like, "Hey, you're crossing a line." So I guess if I was to think about it more, I'm sure with more time, I'm sure I'd come up with more. But I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. Thank you so much for that, Najda. Now, on the
You're
the other extreme of this example, Najda, is for those of us who lead with empathy. or they just have a different way of leading that would ordinarily be branded as weak, quote unquote. You're not tough enough, you're not and all those. What is your advice for them?
Like I
Eh,
said, we
let me
live.
just sorry. Let me rephrase that. What is your advice to the person who is leading with empathy in an environment where empathy is translated as weakness and it's taken advantage of or weaponized against the person?
Okay. First of all, I said, I repeat that we have traditional leadership that is still very overbearing in especially in Africa. Okay, so it's something, you know, how you'll still go to the wazes in the village and they'll still tell you, oh, you know, even the fact that you can still go home, and or back to the village and say my husband slapped me or my wife is abusive to me, and you'll be told shut up and go back. Isn't he paying the bills? Isn't he a good father? Isn't he, you know? That's the kind of leadership we have today. So you can imagine, or a man is crying and voicing his emotions, and he's being told, "Which man cries? What kind of a man cries?" So we live in a society that, unfortunately, does view empathy, does view listening, does view talking and being heard and being listened to as weak because, well, whether it's generational trauma, whether it's just societal expectations or how we've been built, there's so many elements as to why we are the way we are. But I think, just like you are expected to, as a tradition, as a transformational leader, to have and believe and sell your vision is emotional intelligence, through empathy, is a strength. It's critical. You want to be that catalyst of change. You want to be the one that will change. You can't change the people who think this way. Maybe you can through action. Maybe not the whole community, maybe part of it, but you can certainly change the generation that you are raising, the generation that's watching you, the team that's under you. So we know if I mean, basically, being able, if you need to understand and believe, empathy doesn't mean compromising standards. It means creating a supportive environment. And when you create that supportive environment, no matter what school of thought somebody else comes with, where they view empathy as weak, if they come into an environment that is supportive, they will conform to it as human nature. So I'm unfortunately throwing the ball back at you as a transformational leader who is empathic, and saying you need to go the extra mile to ensure you're not only empathic, you're not only easy to talk to or listen to, you have created a supportive environment, and that is how people will see it differently. So you are now that ambassador, and that's how they see it differently. I guess, I would just advise that you need to focus on outcomes, not perceptions. So when you're we like I said, we can't change the perception of what people think of empathy, of how they perceive it. You can't focus on that perception. You need to focus on outcomes. It still reiterates the first point I was trying to make. So you're not just feeding empathy, and you believe in it, and you've created a supportive environment, which means you're focusing on the outcome of it, hoping that that outcome will now change the perceptions, but you can't focus on that. So I just, now, I mean, as I'm talking, I'm feeling like maybe I'm deviating from the question. I don't know if it's answering it, but
Yes.
basically, just lastly, maybe to say, being empathic doesn't mean that you tolerate bad behavior. And I think there's a very thin line between being empathic
Mm-hmm.
and tolerating abuse, tolerating bad behavior, tolerating, all these toxic behaviors. Being empathic is, you're kind,
Mm-hmm.
you're a good listener, but and that emotional intelligence enables you to be that way and still hold other people accountable. So that's what makes you strong and respected as a leader. To be able to be kind, be empathic. People can come to you. They can feel they trust you. They feel pulled towards you to help them because of your empathy. But you can still hold others equal. So being, I think you just kind of, I would just say, be. You need to actively practice this, especially the last point of being kind and still holding others accountable. It's emotional intelligence is not also just taking everyone's stress, becoming now the mental health provider for the office and listening to everyone's problems and then going home and getting depressed about it yourself. There are many nuances
Yes.
to emotional intelligence. You need to understand that it starts with you. Remember, we said, what is emotional intelligence? It's being able to understand, navigate, and deal with your emotions, and understand and deal and navigate others people's as well. So I just feel like that balance is what creates that respected leader. And once you're respected, all those perceptions don't matter because they fall in line because they see the outcomes. So I don't know,
Mm.
Noeline, if I've answered.
You have, Najda.
Okay,
And
great.
thank you so much for that. One last question. I'm looking at the time. Do you have time for one last question, or can we wrap it up at this point?
No, that's fine. Oh, that's fine.
Alrighty. So I'm just going to ask it as is. In my organization, I often need to lead teams or initiatives where I don't have formal authority. What strategies can I use to be an effective transformational leader in these situations?
Sorry, what was that last point? What?
Let me
Start
read
from
it
there.
again.
Yeah.
Okay. In my organization, I often need to lead teams or initiatives where I don't have formal authority. What strategies can I use to be an effective transformational leader in these situations? What
Okay,
strategies?
so you're saying you're in an organization where you have to lead a team or an initiative. You don't have
Without
formal
formal authority.
authority. Formal
Mhm.
authority meaning you don't have the title.
I suppose that's what this means. Let me copy it and paste it so it can run at the bottom as a ribbon.
Yeah, please, because um, I feel like, okay, but as you do that, just first of all, when you say formal authority, and what you mean, if I'm getting you correct, is uh, if you don't hold the title CEO or manager or senior manager, then we're moving away. Maybe you're not understanding, or maybe I didn't come out clearer to say being a transformational leader goes beyond and does not require those titles. In that, we've already talked when Noelin was asking those two questions before, where you can find that you are leading leaders who are weak. You are their team, but you are leading leaders, or you need to. So in this situation, you've already found yourself where you are engaging the team. Whether you have the title or not, you're engaging them, which means you're already the leader. They're looking to you because they've been told Mr. X, Mr. or Mrs. XYZ is leading this program, right? You don't have the formal authority, but they know that you're doing it. So that's it. That's your green card to applying everything you've learned today. Build those strong relationships. Start building trust and empathy. Use the time. Understand your team members. Remember, we said transformational leadership is a skill of the future. You may not be a leader in your office or be a CEO or a manager or anything. You may be part of the team but not the leader, but you are displaying the skills of transformational leadership so that those leaders will consider you for the future of the company. They'll consider you for the next promotion. They will consider that so and so has the skills that we need in this company to build a team that is, ABCD. So when you
Mm.
realize that you are now, you I mean, thankfully, you are actually being given a chance to lead the initiative or the team. Now you've been given a green card into applying everything we learned today. So, like I said, start building those relationships. Start showing genuine interest. Learn, create, earn their respect, create a foundation of trust, they are eventually going to speak to someone and say, "Oh my God, Noeline was amazing in this project she was leading us in. I wish you guys knew." And the boss is going to hear that and think, "Okay, I think Noeline needs a raise or she needs to be promoted." So keep, inspire, create that vision. Okay, guys, this is it. Have a regular one-on-ones, the way we said, all the practical tips that I've shared in this thing. So if I'm getting the question correctly, we said, well, let me see. So in my organization, I often need to lead teams or initiatives where I don't have formal authority. What strategies can I use to be an effective transformational leader in this situation? Basically all the strategies we learned today. None of the concepts we discussed today require you to have formal authority. I'm so glad this question was asked, because again, as Africans, we tend to think that to be a leader, you need to have a formal role, right? You need to be the president or you need to be the CEO, and those are the leaders. No, I mean, I don't know. Noeline, have you ever been in a scenario where you are sitting with a janitor of a school, and you feel like you just need to keep buying him milk or tea or whatever you're drinking, because he's impacting you with his stories and his guidance and his wisdom, and you're thinking, and he's telling you about how he changed this one's life and the ways he did it, and you're thinking, but this man has no formal authority. He's
Authority.
just a janitor, but how is he inspiring me so much? How is he making me look into myself and see that greatness and go and want to be a better person? um, I believe that leaders are born. They're born. They can learn this. Others can learn the skills. So we can either be born a leader or you can learn to be a leader. But the fact is, do we all, even the one who has the least empathy, do we all have the ability to impact and make a transformation to those around us? The answer is a big yes. The only thing is, let us not, society, cultural expectations, traditions have made us believe that we need to have that formal recognition as a leader to lead. No. If anything, if you are seeking, or if you're on the journey of transformational leadership, you will realize, hopefully sooner than later, but at any point you will realize that it does not come dressed in a formal with a formal title or anything. Actually, it can come to anyone. So
Mm.
everything that we've learned in today's session can be applied in that situation where you don't have formal authority, but you lead the teams and the initiatives. You have the opportunity that many people have to create. You've been given that opportunity to shine. Go shine. No
Mm.
matter how small or how big you think the initiative or the job was, do it. You can feel free to document your initiative, document the team leadership that you've been doing, so that you can go and sit with your boss and say, "Boss, I believe I'm in line for a promotion or something like that," and explain why. Look at my team. I led them with a vision, with a clear vision. I got them from point A to point B. We did it within half the time that was stipulated, with half the budget that was given. We I maintained morale. Whatever. Basically, using everything you've learned today in a report form and give it to your boss. So then they are able to equate what you've done and how you did it to, okay, because clearly formal authority is important. I'm not rubbishing that. I'm not saying it's not. Everyone needs to be given the respect through title, through promotion, through salary increase, whatever it is, for the work they're doing, especially when they're doing it well. So you deserve the formal authority and recognition, but you don't need it to be the transformational leader. But once you have been the transformational leader, document it and go and sit with your boss and tell them, "Okay, now the time is here to have this conversation. I've done this a couple of times. I'm great at it. You can speak to the team. Here is their feedback, and I believe it puts me in line for a promotion." So I hope I've answered that as well.
Yes, yes, you have, Najda, very, very clearly. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have so many more questions that have come in, but I'm
Mhm.
also very, very aware of your 8 o'clock. So please guide me. Do we end here or would you like to go on?
I don't know how many more questions.
We will take the number that you are able to address. Let's go with that.
I think one more. It's 7:40. I can probably take one more question and then I jump into my class.
Yes, okay. All right. I don't want to inconvenience you at all. At all.
Sure.
Alrighty.
Can
Um,
you paste it like you did the other one? Because it was then easy to read.
okay, give me one moment to copy paste. One, two, already. There we go. Okay, so let me read it for you. There are times when I don't have all the answers or clear direction for upper management. How can I still lead effectively and keep my team motivated in such uncertain times?
Um, yeah. So again, most unfortunately, leaders in offices today don't tend to take communication seriously. So they're not clear in their communication. But you need to be. If you're going to set a vision for your team, you need to understand that vision very clearly. If you go to your team with a half baked vision, which you don't understand, then it becomes an issue. I would say just put some. Now, let's imagine this is a constant issue with your team, with your leaders, where they continue every time they give you a task, it's very vague, it doesn't make any sense. Take the bull by the horns, take the reins of the horses, guide it, tell them, thank you so much for the meeting we had today. Write, put it on an email. Thank you so much for the meeting we had today. Or if it was an email, go and knock on somebody's door. Thank you so much for ABCD. I'm looking forward to working on this project. I need some clear guidance on 1, 2, 3, 4, on the things that you weren't clear on, for example, and pass to them, tell them, I need this, and tell them why. I have a team that's depending on me. I want to be very clear on my vision. I want to lead with certainty. I want to believe in the vision myself. The team is looking at me for guidance and leadership, so I can't go to them without understanding fully and buying into the project itself. So by telling them what you need and why you need it, first of all, you're already opening their eyes to, wow, so and so is really great, coming back to us and asking for it. It's your right to ask for more information. So many people again feel odd or feel intimidated to go to their upper management, because unfortunately upper management creates the a vibe where they're unapproachable. But you need to, like I said, keeps repeating, transformational leadership is a journey where you're going to need to break down a lot of barriers that have been put there by predecessors and old traditions and old cultural practices. But we're not going to move forward, all of us as ambassadors of transformational leadership, if we don't break down some of these things. So sometimes, like Nolene was asking, the first question was, you need to be the leader of your leaders, and this is how you do it. Guide them into making better communication, guide them into making better decisions, guide them, and you can make it easier for them. Ask them clear questions, tell them this is a yes or no. Ask them clear questions, tell them, I just need you to guide me towards if it's option one or option two. Give them scenarios, tell them which scenario suits best. Make it easy for them. A lot of upper management sometimes either are too busy, others are insecure, maybe also feel like, I don't have all the answers, why you know what you want me to do. So when you give it to them in a way that they just have to choose one option as the answer, or give you a yes or no answer, or it makes it easier. So these are strategies you can put in place when you're getting back to them, to make it even easier for them to just reply to you and say, okay, so and so, here is the way forward. Between all the options you've given me, option one is exactly what we're looking at, and I hope and that's it. So feel free to knock on those doors as much as you need to, because the main element of being the transformational leader is leading with full knowledge and full that vision and everything. And if you don't have it, you won't be able to get it from your team. So just break down the barriers, do it with empathy, do it with respect but assertiveness, like we said earlier as well. Do it with a way that is also inspirational. And trust me, when upper management sees this communication from you, they are going to be inspired. They're going to be like, oh wow, this is great. You'll even start seeing that you have now changed their way of how they communicate to you. Then they were never clear. Now the next project, they're even clearer, because they've been inspired and you've transformed how they're doing things. And that, my dear, is the whole reason and the whole power behind being a transformational leader.
Thank you so much, Najda, for answering all our questions and even for the deck that you prepared for this session. I'm hoping to host you again and
Yes.
also going to follow up with you for the masterclass details.
Hmm.
And also now very conscious of the time and you needing to go into to the next class. Allow me to end today's session and we will see everyone next time. Thank you, Najda, and thank you everyone who joined.
Thank you, Noeline, and everyone else. Happy beginnings to your new journey.
Thank you, Najda. That's very kind of you. Bye, everyone.